Hello, my dear friends. Hello, my dear friends. Anybody there for this live so we can catch up on what is going on in the world of our British royals? Right then. How are we all doing today, my great friends? Welcome to this live stream. Today, the 26th of September 2022. Welcome to this live stream again, my dear friends. I'm so grateful to be here again with you all. I hope you're all having a brilliant evening and a brand new week so far. Guys, tell me if my speakers or my headphones are great because I don't actually know if sound is good, but hey ho. Right then, so, how are we guys doing? How is your week going so far? There is a lot that has been happening in the world of our royals, guys. I'm so excited for this live stream. But before we kick into it, guys, let me first appreciate your support. Our channel is growing really, really fast. It is looking really great, guys. Without your support, I don't think we could have achieved what we are achieving right now. I'm really, really very grateful for your unending support to these royal messages. So how have you all been? I do welcome all of you new subscribers to this wonderful channel, and of course all of you my old friends subscribers for continuing to push this channel's messages every day. I'm very, very grateful for the support that you show to me, the support you show to our royals, and of course, all the messages that I receive on on my page here through your thoughts that you share here, but also through the inbox. Guys, I really, really appreciate your outstanding ideas, your comments on my posts via the community tab, but also the advice for the sort of messages that you want me to share here on the channel. I really, really do receive every thought that you leave in that inbox. I'm so proud of all of you. Anyway, so today, of course, we are again here to round up on what has been going on in the world of our royals. As you heard today, all the flowers outside Buckingham Palace and in all the royal parks in and outside of London are being collected and put together to be taken away for composition, again to be brought back and you know, spread in the gardens of Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, Balmoral. So again, that composition process of the flowers is a way of making sure that they make the best use of those flowers, because people, of course, showed a lot of their support to Her Majesty the Queen's, funeral, and of course, love to the royal family and everybody who turned up, of course, to leave those floral tributes behind. So yes, that has been going on today in London. So earlier on, we saw huge trucks and volunteers helping to put together the collection of all those flowers to be taken away for composition. So yes, it has been a bit of a slow start this week for the royals, but we know that most of them would be taking that well-deserved break. And of course, the family is still mourning the death of their beloved Queen Elizabeth. So we are going to see a very, very slow start. As the year goes on, then we will start to see royals going out more. on engagements. We've seen King Charles III travel to churches in and around of England to thank people for the support they have showed to the royal family over the last few emotional days. But also William and Catherine went out to communities in and around Windsor again to say thank you to everybody who managed to turn up and offer some support in one way or the other. So yes, it's quite a slow start, but very, very understandable. Now we've got so many stories that have popped up, and royals are not out on engagements, but social media channels and pages are starting to share a lot of interesting stories on what is going on behind the scenes. And one of those stories I've read from the Daily Mail, I think it has popped up on the Sun as well, and in the Daily Express. Where the ratings for the different royal family members have been released, and apparently William and Catherine are topping the list of the most loved royals. Very, very interesting, isn't it? And of course, we expected that because the Prince and Princess of Wales, have always been very, very adorable, admirable by so many people. But not just that, their dedication to serving the country, the monarchy, and the way they connect with people, whether young or old, women, children, is awesome. So they were very deserving of that position. So we have just seen the Daily Mail actually putting out a list of positions of in order of how they rank amongst the public. So William and Catherine come top, and we see King Charles III slip into the third position. I think that is really, really good a position for King Charles, especially as we know that he wasn't particularly popular with people in the days, running up to those very last days of Queen Elizabeth. But again, he started to pick up in the later days because of the support he gave to his mother, but also because of what he has been through as the next in line. But also let us not forget that as king now, and how he has featured in so many news agencies and papers and stories, and of course he's been at the center of of the royal news with becoming the king now. His ratings have really, really skyrocketed. So to see him in the third position actually is a great performance for King Charles III. Yes, so he sits in position 3 at the moment, and then I think in position 4 is this Sophie. I'll have a look at. I have a list somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, Princess Anne, Princess Royal Anne comes in position 4. That's not a surprise to us at all. Princess Anne is really, really hardworking. And of course, there is a recent poll that was run again by a certain newspaper on what Princess Anne would have been had she been the next in line, whether she would have made a great queen and all that. And people's responses were really, really positive, with many saying that yes, Princess Anne would have made a fabulous queen. But yes, Princess Anne, of course, now comes in position 4 as the most popular royal. Of course, he is. And she beats Harry into that position, because before then we used to have Harry towering over many royals, in being one of the most loved royal, I think, because of how he used to connect with people and all that. But in these recent polls, we have seen Prince Harry slip right below most of these other popular royals to becoming the fifth most loved royal, and also his wife finishing in the eighth position apparently. So we can see that Duchess Camilla, the Queen Consort, who used not to be loved by many people, also sits above Meghan in these new new polls. So something that suggests that people are not really happy with Meghan. And to be fair, I'm really surprised that she managed to get a position in the top 10 most loved royals, because I thought she would fare really poorly in these new polls. Yes, but that is the recent survey, recent release of the polls and how royals are standing. The great news is, of course, William and Catherine are topping that poll. And of course, as they are the new Prince and Princess of Wales, we want to see them build more connections with people. We want them be on ground more. We want to see them work with King Charles III to take the British royal family forward in ways that Queen Elizabeth would have loved. So it was really great to see those new ratings come out. So people have left so many comments on these ratings, with many saying, how could Meghan feature on that list? And others saying Prince George would be high up, in front of Meghan. And others are here saying as well that Harry should not have been in the top 5 because of what he and wife Meghan have done to the royal family, and the heartache that they caused to Queen Elizabeth. So you can understand where people are coming from in these comments and these responses. But of course, when they are deriving these polls are sort of generated from hundreds and thousands of people across the world, and many of these would, of course, stick with individual royals, and people have their own reasons for voting through certain royals. But what we can take from this survey or this new release is that the royals that we always look at as royals that are performing well, and royals that have got the royal family and Queen Elizabeth is values, and the royal family values at their heart, are the royals that we have seen really perform well. So yes, if you haven't seen that release, head over to the Daily Mail. We've got them also on released through the news, the Sun paper, the Sun newspaper. And I think Daily Express has also written a story about that new poll, but you can't miss it. It's everywhere, on all over the internet and social media. So yes, that's it for today regarding our royals' popularity. Catherine, William, King Charles III are very solid up in those 3 positions, meaning that yes, we have got the royal family moving in the direction that we want. Okay. Right. So there is a story as well that came up this morning. And again, that story very much centers around Prince Harry and his upcoming book. The book is never coming, isn't it? Because it was meant to be released earlier on in August. August came to September. Of course, there was the death of Queen Elizabeth. So that might have held the book. So people were thinking, yes, it was going to be released end of September, but apparently the book will not be released. And as we speak right now, Prince Harry is making amendments. Apparently, he is trying to edit and take out all the heavy stuff or things that would endanger or annoy the royal family, so that he, of course, he doesn't cause another eruption. Of course, we know where he sits or stands right now with the public, not, sort of expressing an interest in whatever he says anymore, because they think Prince Harry has got a habit of telling lies, as we saw in his Oprah Winfrey interviews that he held with wife Meghan last year. So with the book, of course, being centered around the tell it all sort of concept, where he said he's going to tell the whole truth, people are thinking it's still gonna be the things he talked about the royal family during those Oprah Winfrey interviews. So many are actually not expressing an interest in reading those thoughts. However, the publishers, I think this is Penguin Publishing Companies, very, very renowned publishers, the Penguin publishers. So these are this is the publishing company that took the contract of publishing Prince Harry's book. Now, trouble is, they paid him a lot of money, of course, for this book, and this would have come in installments. So they paid him deposits so he can release at least an excerpt, or what would be the first draft and all that stuff. And of course, he already wrote this book, and they already had signed this book, and now Prince Harry comes and he wants to edit the book. He wants to have it redone, take out all the bits and bobs that he thinks are really, really going to come across as heavy for the royal family. And of course, we had King Charles III as well requesting for a copy of Prince Harry's book before it is published, and Prince Harry hasn't given that copy in yet, which explains that really whatever is written in that book is not going to be music to the royals' ears. But this is the interesting story now. So Penguin publishers are saying that, right, okay, we paid you money to produce this book or to write this book. We want it as juicy as it can be. We want all of those bits and bobs about your story. We want the heavy stuff, because that is what we think that is going to sell. Okay, so we want all the heavy stuff in there. We want the story, the actual story, the truth. Okay. And so Prince Harry saying, no, I think from what I have now seen, and of course the isolation I've come across, within my family for the last days I've been back, and how the whole world is looking at me right now, I wouldn't imagine myself releasing this book in the way that I had written it previously, because it is going to be another bombshell book. Of course, if these things were going to be right, okay, that is another story. But there are sources that are claiming most of these publications in Prince Harry's book are very much based on the fact that he wasn't very happy at the time he left with Meghan. He wrote the book around that time when they were still very bitter with the royal family. And you know what we do when we write stories or when we act in times when we are sort of angry. Okay, so that is the sort of reaction Prince Harry had at the time of writing that first publication, which is yet to be released. So after Prince Harry has got back into his senses, he's now wondering, really, is this, can I go ahead and produce this? Okay, how is the whole world going to look at me? Okay, is it worth it, damaging my own family, the royal family, is it worth talking all this stuff about my family that loved me so much, that brought me up into the Harry I am today? So I think this is why we are now seeing a Prince Harry who's holding that book back, a Prince Harry who is involved in those deep talks with Penguin, publishers, to try and allow him edit that book. And Penguin is saying, when you edit the book, you're taking out the great bits that we want. Of course, for them, they want to sell stories that are going to be considered hot stories. You see, the thing with the publishing books is sometimes when a book is, you know, it's normal. It's a normal book. You're talking about normal things. That book will not sell. People want stuff that is going to be eye-catching, stuff that is going to make people's hearts skip a little bit. Oh, how did that happen? And all that controversial books, sort of. So, but Harry, of course, if he goes ahead and publishes that book in its original form without making those edits, I don't think we are going to see him come back to the royal family in the near future. Of course, we saw how he was treated with his wife when they came here, not just by the royal family, but how the general public looked at them, because of what they said previously in those Oprah Winfrey interviews, and the interviews that Prince Harry has gone on to hold with other social media channels in the United States, not forgetting the podcasts that his wife is running, the Hashi Types podcast, where Meghan is continuing to talk about the royal family in ways that are not making King Charles happy. So all these things here have led to Meghan and Harry sort of brand being hated. The more they speak, the more people hate them, because what people think is that Meghan and Harry are trying to sort of bring down the royal family because they did not get what they wanted in the first place from the royal family. So that's that. Prince Harry's book, Stalling, and I don't think we are going to get a publication date anytime soon, because that is what is going on behind the scenes. Prince Harry can't release this book. The book has become a book. All news channels are talking about Prince Harry's upcoming book. It's going to be upcoming, but for how long? For how long? Have you followed up on any of those stories, guys? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Okay. And Harry is in the fifth. No, he's in the fifth place. Sorry, fifth place. So that is a mistake. I'll need to change that. Yes. Thank you, Tam, for that. For that. For that correction there. But I think he's in the fifth place according to the publication, to what I'm reading here. Yes. So this book has become a book. Will it ever be released? First and foremost, Prince Harry had written this book, I think, when Queen Elizabeth was still alive, when King Charles III was still a prince, and Queen Consort Camilla was still a Duchess of Cornwall by the time Prince Harry wrote his book. So a lot has changed since he made that very, very first draft in his book. And he was talking about people who are now in very different capacities. Okay, so if you write about, say, Prince Charles, then, okay, my dad, Prince Charles, now Prince Charles has become a king. Okay, so if you produce a book with Prince Charles, I suppose people will pick up on that. Many will say, right, but he's now a king. But the other thing as well is, at the time, Prince Charles was not in any position to make any decisions, any decisions regarding certain things. Now we have a situation where Prince Charles is the key decision maker. So go ahead and write a negative story about him, you're his son, and tell me if you will get any favors. Okay. So that is the big dilemma that Prince Harry has put himself in, writing a book, talking about the royal family in the way he did, and then he gets a moment of reflection and start thinking about, the repercussions that might come up. But as well as that, he started thinking about his future. Now, of course, his children are not going to have HRH titles. You read this story earlier on, that Prince Charles says that no HRH titles to Prince Harry's children. They are prince and princess because Prince Harry's dad is now a king, but he still has power to strip them of the prince and princess titles as well. So the thing is, Harry is now thinking about all that. What if, my children are stripped of the prince and princess titles? He's also thinking about the long term. Okay, right. Okay, my kids. I want them to get the HRH titles when they start working. But again, if I do this and produce this book, will I stand a chance? So he has a decision to make between, wanting to secure a future for his family, or ruining the future of his family for money right now. Because obviously, if he publishes that book, he's going to get lots of money. We hear Penguin Publishing Company was going to pay him 20 million US dollars, and of course, it should have paid him a huge chunk of money, prior to publishing this book. But in total, apparently, he's supposed to be paid about 20 million US dollars. So that's a lot of money for Prince Harry. So he has to make a decision as to whether money or ruin my family relations, my children's future. Okay. And of course, we know that Meghan somehow has to come into this. They have to sit together as a couple and decide, right, how do we move forward? Of course, you would say Meghan is more of a money-minded person, as you saw in that story when they went on some of these engagements, royal engagements abroad to Canada, to Australia. Of course, apparently she was asking Harry, are we getting paid for these engagements? Why are we going when we are not getting paid? So clearly she is a money-minded person. Okay, so behind the scenes, we know she would be telling Prince Harry to go ahead and publish his book. Let's get this money. Let's make our life. Let's build our life here in the United States. But Harry has to sit down and reflect and choose between, right, do I want money, or do I want to secure my family relations and my children's future? Okay. So that's that regarding Prince Harry. Of course, we shall be hearing these stories as they come through. But as we speak now, Prince Harry is at crossroads with making a decision as to whether he goes ahead to publish his book or hold it back in fear of that backlash with his father, his royal family members, and also in fear of ruining his children's future, because I don't think his kids and even Harry will be considered or by the royal family going forward in the future. Now, many people are saying that what if Prince Harry again drops the idea of publishing that book, won't he end up in jail? Okay, of course, he's a royal for he's a royal for the first thing. So of course there would be sort of ways they would reclaim that money from Prince Harry. So of course they would take him to court for not performing or providing the goods that he was paid for. However, okay, uh, that court case will, of course, will mean that he pays back that money or a huge chunk of that money back. And we know that if he takes that route, the royal family still loves Prince Harry. They still love his family. So I wouldn't really think King Charles III would sit there and leave his son to end up in jail or in debt. So money issues. So definitely the royal family somewhere, somehow will come to his support and pay off this money the same way they helped Prince Andrew to sort of pay off his lawsuit against whatever that sex allegation case he had in the United States a few months back. Okay, so I don't think if he put off publishing that book, I don't think that he would really end up in jail for not showing up with the goods or whatever, because his family will come to his rescue. That is one thing for sure, because King Charles is also worried of his reputation as a dad going down. So as much as he's not happy with what Prince Harry is doing at the moment, I'm quite sure he cannot sit down there and look at Prince Harry going through trouble and those issues and court cases and being threatened to be taken to jail for consuming the 20 million US dollars and failing to publish a book, because I'm quite sure the royal family can support him through that. So it is very important for Prince Harry at the moment to sit down and think about those different ways he can go through, to try and safeguard his future, his children's future, his family relationships with the royal family. But I, for one, would really advise he puts off publishing that book, because it isn't going to be great news for the royal family, but also it won't be great news for Prince Harry in the long term. Yes, people will say, right, it's a bombshell book. He'll probably go on to sell in some of those, uh, countries where people are very curious. However, what is that going to help him? How will it help him? Okay. Yes, Tom. Yeah, I really agree with you there, the publishers. But at the same time, is if Harry hasn't given them the go ahead to publish that book and they publish it, I think he can take them to court for that. So I mean, Prince Harry still has a certain degree of power, for this book to come out or not, because if he hasn't put his signature on that book, okay, unless he has already done that behind the scenes. But if he had done that behind the scenes, then the book would have been released. Whether they just held it back because of the death of Queen Elizabeth, we don't know. But one thing for sure is they would not go ahead to publish that book without his 100% consent. Otherwise, again, they risk being taken to court for releasing a book that hasn't been authorized by the author. Okay. But if he goes ahead and releases it, of course, he's going to be in so much trouble. A lot of it could come in the way of Prince Harry probably trying to maintain whatever the honesty in the contracts that he signed with Penguin Publishers, maybe. But again, he has now to choose between family and the publishers themselves. So these are the This is where Prince Harry is really, really at crossroads. Okay, and at the moment as we speak, the world has got their ears open, eyes open. Where is the book? What is Prince Harry's next move? Okay, everybody is like, right, let's see what's going to happen. And behind the scenes, the royal family is also tightening, right? You do this, we do that. Okay. King Charles the third says, bring the book here. I want to have a look at it. Prince Harry says, hang on a minute. Let me first quickly do these edits before my dad looks through this book. Penguin publishers are saying, we are not having it. We want all this juice in the book. But whose idea was it? Did Harry need to write a book at this age? Okay. Should we say he has stopped learning? Because there's a lot to learn. People write their books, especially biographies and, books of that nature, very later on in their stages of life. Okay. But for Prince Harry here, I think he rushed writing this book because he's still got a lot of things to learn. Prince Harry is just, how old, 38? Very young. So he's still learning. We learn as far as, if he had written this book, if he was going to write the book in 50s, okay, maybe, yes, well enough experience. But what really prompted him to write this book that fast? So whose idea was it? That is where these questions are coming in. Of course, many people allegedly are saying it was Meghan's idea to try and get Harry put out these things out so that, because they were not happy by the time they left. And this would have been the time Prince Harry got the idea to write this book. Because when Harry was serving in the royal family, he never thought about writing stuff like this. Okay, so this leaves us asking our questions. I mean, every day, whose idea was it for Prince Harry to write that book? But we will wait and see what happens. And but what we know is that there is a lot going on in the background. Prince Harry himself is still mourning the death of his grandmother. And I know for sure that Harry has a heart. He wouldn't love to sort of bring down his family like that, But of course, there are influences. There is somebody there who is influencing him to take these steps. And I don't think Harry himself is very happy with taking these steps he took. Okay. So allegedly, there must be someone influencing Harry to sort of take on the path that he's taken on. Of course, his brother, Prince William, is very, very, what will I say, in line with the royal protocol. He loves what he's doing. He's got his eyes, really, really candidly at his brother, Prince Harry, to see what he's going to do next. We also know that the relationship between those two is not where it's supposed to be. We saw them walking together at their grandma's funeral, but that was all about it. Apparently, there were no conversations in the background that took place of any sort. Prince Harry didn't even turn up for the family dinner that was put in place for the royals, and the reason he gave for that is because Meghan was not invited. Okay, Meghan was not invited, but he forgot that this was an exclusively, private family dinner where they were going to sit and reflect on, the royal family going forward. So Harry let himself down, because if he had made use of these opportunities, meet with his family members on these very private events, maybe this is where he would have got a chance to voice out those things that he wanted to voice out. But he kept putting these invitations off because my wife is not with me. My wife is not with me. Okay. Recently, we have seen Prince Harry wanting to be with wife everywhere she goes, everywhere he goes, invitations he receives, he wants to show up with his wife Meghan, which is okay, which is ideal, but in certain situations, especially with the royal family and how uh, toxic things are, okay, I don't think Prince Harry needed to sort of uh, have those conditions in place, especially with a family that was really, really thrown under the bus by Prince Harry's wife in those interviews that were watched by millions and millions of people across the world. Okay, but guys, it's that is what is going on in the world of our royals. Nothing really much regarding engagements, regarding going out in the community because the family is still mourning. But those are the stories, the bit on the side regarding, what else is flying around in our royal world. So mainly Prince Harry's upcoming book, whether it's coming or not, what is holding it back? Okay, what are the conditions that Prince Harry is being given? Okay. Hi, lady. Thank you for joining in. Great to always see you. Tam, yes, Tam says he already took their money. Publishers want to release it during the premiere of The Crown. Yes, yes, and this is where he is coming in to say, right, can I do the edits right now? And they're saying, no, we've got all this book put in place, ready to go. We don't want any changes. So, Tam, you could be right. They could go ahead and produce this book and then wait for Harry to drag them in court so they present their case. But again, what a mess that would have caused. Anything at this stage can happen. Okay. But of course, we as royalists, we can only hope that something happens, to that book so that it is not released. Because let's face it, even if most of the stuff in that book is going to be lies, there are people who will take those things for the truth. But also, um, the damage that it will cause, given the fact that Meghan and the interviews they held with Oprah Winfrey are also still raw in people's minds, is what the royal family is trying to avoid. So Harry needs to sit down properly and reflect. I think there needs to be a dialogue, proper dialogue, between Harry and his family back here to see if there's any way forward. And if it means seeking some financial support from King Charles III to see that this book is held somewhere, so can he do it? Because any means that he can do to prevent this book from being published, you know, will always pay off immensely later on. Okay, I mean, 20 million US dollars, right? It's a huge sum of money, yes. But what will it be to you when you again become a hated figure and you can't even come back yet to your family? And, that money seems a lot, but in the way these royals and the lifestyle they are leading, can that money take them forever? Okay, so those are some of the things Prince Harry needs to be looking at, and also somehow Meghan has to jump into this and start start coming back to the world on Earth and start realizing that the more she advises her husband the wrong way, the more their family will meet those roadblocks in life going forward. Okay. So she's also running podcasts and all that stuff. So, if, for example, if that book is released and it causes a lot of controversy and all that stuff, her podcasts will also sort of start attracting negativity. Already she's struggling, you know, in these podcasts, even finding potential guests who are going to be, guests who are meaningful is becoming something really, really hard for her. We know she has already hosted Serena Williams, she's hosted Mariah Carey, but allegedly there are no other guests wanting to come forward because of the reviews for her last series. Okay, so if this Harry's book is produced, this sort of effect is not going to be on Harry alone, but also Meghan, especially as people know she is the mastermind behind Harry's ideas. So, what do you guys have to say about that? He needed to tell his story about how he feels about his mother's death and his mental health at this stage of life. Hi, Mrs. PLC. Thank you so much for that comment. It's first time to see you on this live. Appreciate you showing up, and yes, appreciate your thoughts. Now, if Harry tells his story about his mother, genuine story, and also his life, okay, his health and everything, of course, yes, he's entitled to do that, okay. But maybe what people are anticipating in Prince Harry's stories is an element of things that he has encountered very later on, especially that time when he met his wife. Many people think a lot of his stories are going to be rotating around finding his new love and how his new love was not helped to settle in and how that led him to leave and all that. So if he was going to talk about, say, for example, his life in Afghanistan, I think that would be very interesting because he will be telling a real life story. And also, if he was going to talk about how he struggled to cope after the death of his mother, that's another one good story to tell, but in a way that is not going to endanger, his family, because his story can turn out to be the story that will bring the royal family down. For many royalists, that is not what we want. Okay. But again, we shall have to wait and see. Right, guys? So tell the era of his ways and apologize and stop trying to damage. If it doesn't, any attempt at patching things up is empty. Yes, Sue Clark. That is a great comment. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we change our minds. We really do. It's okay to change, it's okay if, because we usually do things in a rush, or we do things when we are not in the right state of mind. So for Prince Harry to change at this time, it's okay, Trouble is maybe the deadlines of the publications are fast approaching, or they've arrived. They've had to change those dates a few times. And also trouble is, of course, he's taken a huge chunk of money in deposits or installments that were paid to him. So, and I don't think that money is there right now. He, of course, he's been also up and about, especially with his Invictus Games project. Now, the next year's projects that are going to be in Germany, we know how much Germany is so expensive. So part of this money, I think, would be going towards funding his Invictus Games projects that are very, very fast approaching as well. And we know that he's not working in the United States. They aren't, we know he got a job as a chief impact officer, but we've never had more details regarding that job. We don't know if he turned up actually. Meghan is gambling with those projects, like you see them, the Hashi Types podcasts, and and what else? He had that project to write books for Random House, and those projects, one of her books were cancelled because it did not meet the target they wanted. So that was cancelled. So they've had a few projects actually that haven't really matured into anything meaningful. Yet, of course, they are living an expensive life. The mansion their mansion in California is costing them a lot of money. Security, running around the world is also costing them money. And so, without having a stream of income coming in steadily, of course, they are going to be struggling. So, I think Prince Harry is looking at this book as an avenue for big money that is going to see them offset their debts, but also support his future projects, the Invictus Games projects. Okay, so I think that is where the pressure lies for him to go ahead and produce this book. I wonder if he will say how he appreciated the royal family covered for him after the whole Nazi uniform and ratio. Name it, talk about it. Talk about it. So, this is actually what the book wants to be talking about, more of how the royal family has supported him rather than how they have actually pushed him out of the royal family. Because I don't think they pushed him out. He was put under the impression that he's not loved, he's treated differently, and this impression was instilled in him by the woman he found, you know, very later on in his stage in life. They met they got married within 6 months of being married, out of the family, out of the country. Things took a turn to where they are right now. Okay. So, really, that book, at the time of Prince Harry writing, it was written with emotions that were not the right set of emotions to have going into a very huge project, like writing a book. Okay, so for Prince Harry right now, I think he would rather change those publications. I mean, he would rather drop the idea of publishing that book and maybe pay that money back in installments. It's easy to explain things, especially given the position he is in. I mean, everybody knows what's going on. Okay, so sitting with the publishers and telling his new viewpoint of him withdrawing that book, I think is not something that they will struggle to understand. They know, they see what's going on. This young man could crash any minute, could crash with emotions, he could crash with pressure, he could crash with nobody would love to be in Prince Harry's shoes right now, because you really saw what was happening when he came back here. You saw how isolated he was. You saw how even, the young royals were not sure of talking to him, because the image they have of him has since changed since leaving the royal family, and partly because, of course, of Hello, guys. So sorry I lost battery there. Um, my apologies for not charging this phone. I think it gave me all the warnings, but I was putting it off, thinking I would pull through it. But yes, sorry guys if my volume is low. I'm not using headphones right now because I'm charging the phone. But yes, so that was Prince Harry there and his book, which is never going to come out, but we're still waiting for it. But who knows when it will be coming out? But yeah, that's it, guys. If you have any thoughts, drop them in the comment section below, and also let us, keep on sort of sharing these messages, because obviously we are here to share knowledge, to share ideas, to sort of, uh, you know, try and make sense of what is going on in our royals, lives, and in the world of our royals. We will make sense of what is going on. These stories, of course, enlighten us, but also we get to sort of share knowledge, and if there is any sort of contribution we can make, we are contributing through the wisdom that we share here on social media. But yes, guys, I won't hold you till very long. Of course, I've sort of gone away with these battery issues for the last 5 minutes, so I'll just try and wrap this up. So we know that the Royals are taking a break until you know, and in the next coming few weeks, as they sort of go through the emotional days of, with the loss of Queen Elizabeth. Flowers are being removed from all royal grounds. Buckingham Palace today, apparently about ten trucks have taken. Sorry, have I need to block this user. About 10 trucks have been shuffling off flowers from the royal gardens and taking them for composition. So yes, that shows there's so much love that people had for Queen Elizabeth. But the other news that I have to share with you before I leave is William and Catherine. So William and Catherine were due to travel to United States. I think December time for the Earthshot Prize projects. Of course, William was meant to be traveling firstly in September, but obviously that coincided with that date. Fell in these days that the family is still mourning the death of their grandmother. So Prince William had to cancel that trip and instead um, instead gave a speech online. I think you saw that speech, guys. It was brilliant. Apparently, the speech covered most of all those pressing issues that the environment, pressing environmental issues that need to be dealt with as soon as possible. But also, hi Lona, thank you for coming in. Yeah, you look very nice. Thank you so much, Lona, for checking in. And I sort of crashed a little earlier with my battery going dead, but it's back up now. But it's still charging, and I think it's not a good idea to use the phone while it's on the battery charging. But I will again come live anytime from I think Wednesday or Thursday. Again, whenever a story pops up, I'll also come up and try and catch up with you guys and sort of update you on what is going on. So yes, so I was saying the Prince of Wales and Catherine are due to travel in December in Boston. So their travel plans are being made right now, and I think they will be going. United States is very, very ready. Apparently, Joe Biden came here to mourn, of course, the death of Queen Elizabeth, and they had a brief conversation with Joe Biden saying that he might host them for dinner when they travel to United States. So again, we are waiting to see how that story is going to develop, and I'll let you know, guys, whatever comes up. But for tonight, guys, I'm going to call it an end to this live, and we'll catch up with you again somewhere around Wednesday, Thursday time. So hoping all of you are looking forward to a great new week, and that you are all very, strong after, of course, the loss of Queen Elizabeth. We are all still recovering, and our only hope is that King Charles upholds the values and standards that Queen Elizabeth very much left behind. So from me here, Francis Page Media, please stay subscribed. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel, comment, leave your messages down in the comment section below, and please tell me any stories that you want me to talk about in my video posts. But other than that, may I take this opportunity to wish you a very lovely evening. Thank you so much, Lorna. Please catch up with this if you manage, and I appreciate your showing up on my videos, Lorna. I really, really take notice of the times you show up and your comments you leave behind. Tam, thank you so much for being part of this. Sue, I'm so grateful. Mrs. PLC, Lily, I'm so grateful for you guys for being on this live stream tonight and for supporting these messages from me here. Lorna and all the group here that is on live on this live, have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye bye, my friends.